Hi, everyone, and welcome to the EyeOpener Society. My name is Gary, and I want to welcome everybody back to our show. A quick update: Hannah is doing well, but things are changing very rapidly behind the scenes. Again, I still cannot talk about it. Again, I'm trying to give Hannah her privacy on all this, but she is doing well. Um, that being said, we are moving forward. We have some new ideas for Eye Opener Society. We're trying to work things out, but we do have our brand new co-host who's been fantastic, and I really see a lot of great things happening along the way. And this episode right now, our new co-host has total creative control over it because she's the one who sat down, thought of the topic and everything else. And it's going to be her show. And I'm just here for the ride. So I want to welcome back again the very wonderful and beautiful Jennifer Miller. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing very good. And I'm very excited for this episode because you have creative control and it's taking you out of your comfort zone. And I'm always excited about that.
It is. So the topic is the journey within. How would you describe where you're at in your journey through life? And hopefully we can talk about like how you know when it's time to start your spiritual journey. Um, do you feel like it ever ends? And do you think that a lot of spiritual people um feel like they have to reflect and change the course of their spiritual journey?
I like that a lot.
So I
I
want to hear
already could. I think we could already do like three or four shows out of that.
Probably. Um, the reason I thought of this topic is because I know with myself, I've been struggling a lot, and I've been thinking that I need to reevaluate some things, um, within myself to maybe align better, with everyone around me. And just for myself, like, in a health aspect, I feel like if you're not spiritually like in the right zone or aligning with yourself, that um everything else around you is going to be kind of chaos. I think you have to find the peace within yourself to put it out there. Kind of like positivity in a way as well. And just goodwill towards men, basically like, anybody really. But so like the topic was spiritual journey within, and it was kind of like how I'm thinking about this. It almost sounds like a Q&A, but it's not. So I was hoping when I said how would you describe your where you're at with your spiritual journey, I was hoping you'd jump in there.
Oh, I got you. I'm sorry I missed that cue.
Oh,
I
it's okay.
will. I will. I'll jump in there with that. As far as my spiritual journey, though, you know, it's difficult for me because I don't have a timeline, and I said this many times before. Um, there was a point in my life where I was living everyday life in, reality, basically. Working, I had the type A personality, and I don't know exactly when things started to change, but I will say this: as far as my actual spiritual journey did start 2 years ago. And that started with Jen from Mind's Eye Metaphysical. When I first went into her shop for a Reiki session, it opened up that whole spiritual aura that was within me. And I started to see things from a much different and much clearer perspective. Whether it's good or not, um, I really felt that opening up your eyes and seeing things in a much spiritual way would be probably the most fantastic thing, but it's really not. And people don't realize that. You wind up seeing all the good that should be, but it's not there. And it kind of sometimes saddens you. It's difficult to explain on that level, but that's where my spiritual journey began 2 years ago. And I think it's steadily become much more eye opening. Every day I find a new direction to go down. Is any of this making sense for you?
Yeah, it does. And then like you saying that like you just started seeing things differently really resonates with, my own personal like start. And how you said it makes you sad. Sometimes you feel things should be a certain way, and it's just not. It just kind of just is. And I think even if it just is you putting out the positive energy, that you do see the struggle with whatever the situation is or the person. I think just being sympathetic and just listening and just kind of being that like light in the dark is actually just a good thing for people that aren't on a spiritual journey. I think it's a good thing for yourself, in a way, kind of like selfish a little bit, because it's bringing you peace that you're being so open and receptive, and just kind of putting that light out there in a way. I know that might sound counterintuitive, like the selfish part, but sometimes I feel like spiritual journeys are meant to be a little bit selfish, like for yourself. I mean, obviously, because you can't put it for everybody, but you can, I would say kind of glow for everybody in a way, kind of like a light. Um, and I also feel like I really like your personal side with that, with saying it kind of just how it changed everything you saw, because when I started learning tea reading, I wasn't on the spiritual path at all. Like my grandma, I want to say she was a spiritual person, but she was not.
Mhm.
She was kind of, just a person that had many troubles but had this really cool gift with tea reading and reading cards and doing fun things like that, and even wax readings. I would have to say that my personal journey started, I would say, right after I had my son. Just that whole experience of birthing a child um puts you in a different mindset. You feel closer and connected to Mother Nature, and I know that might sound kind of weird, but um, it just it changed a lot of the way I look at things and how I felt empathetic and sympathetic and compassionate towards other people. And it really got me thinking that I needed to change some things about the way I was living. And it really brought me a lot of peace. And my journey's not done. I'm still working on it. It's definitely touch and go. Like there's times I feel like I'm really solid, so I won't reflect and I won't think about things until what hits me, life, and it humbles me, and I will start thinking, "Oh, I need to reevaluate some things." And so, yeah.
Is this
It-
not what the spiritual journey is really about? Us as human beings, the paths that we go on in life, it's never really consistent. We always go down different roads every now and then. We always come to these crossroads. So really, when you're talking about a spiritual journey, it doesn't have to be like that big Buddhist statue. It doesn't have to be all of the lights and all it is a conscientious understanding of yourself. The more you realize the self and
Mm.
the way you should be, that's really what the spiritual path is about. So it can change. And also, you don't have to live a certain way. Nobody has to be like a priest or anything. We could
Right.
still live, laugh. We could still joke about things maybe we shouldn't be joking about. We could still drink. We could still party. But again, it's just an understanding of ourselves, where we are at, what we are trying to achieve, and where we're going to go in life. That's the spiritual journey. And,
Hmm.
and depending on, what you decide, that could change it. Maybe you figure, hey, maybe the partying is going to have to stop, but that's a choice that you make. Um,
Right.
so yeah, that's where we change. I've realized that myself, even like me with drinking, I've stopped. I never had a problem. It wasn't like an addiction or anything, but I did it, on times, and I always did it full force. I don't sit here hating myself for it. It's part of life. It's part of growing up. It's part of being human. But spiritually, I said, maybe it's just time to cut it off because I want to have more time where my mind is more focused and I could think for myself. So that's the differences in life. And yeah, some things could change us. Like you with childbirth. Now, did you have complete natural childbirth?
No, I had a really, really terrible traumatic childbirth with my first son. Like I was 2 weeks overdue, and I got induced, and nothing was happening. And then all of a sudden he was in distress, and I had to get an emergency C-section. And that really was eye-opening, that things weren't going to go the way I wanted them to. And I had to learn to accept those things and be okay with it. And I also opened my eyes to the fact that, I was really scared, and I handled that situation in a not so pleasant way. If I could take it back, I would. Because I was really scared. I was like, I don't want to have this baby because, I had to get cut open. I was really like, when I say that, I was terrified because I had never had a major surgery. And I regret saying those things because my son is so wonderful. And it was just like an eye-opening thing. Like I need to come to terms and make peace with things. Like things aren't going to always go the way I want them to. But that doesn't mean that I have to be it doesn't have to be negative, and I need to stop panicking as much, and I need to just calm down and see how the situation unfolds. And once I started thinking that way, it really gave myself a lot of peace. Um, and it helped me with my other, births and stuff, but it also helped me with just everyday situations in life. Like you know, um, but like you said, things aren't in stone, and they change. Um, so then, like, go to college, because I went to college after I had my son, and um, those were stressful times, right? So after I graduated, I found out I had cancer. So that really put me in another tailspin. And so after I got through that, I started looking at my life like there are things that I need to change. I need to start becoming more in tune with myself, and just um letting things go where they may, like let the universe handle it, and just, not lead in a place of fear, but and more in a place of, understanding, and trying, instead of just being negative and fearful and just sour
Mm.
in general. But like you said, it's continuously, like you have to continuously keep thinking, and working on things for yourself for inner peace. And that got me to thinking, like, do you ever feel like the spiritual journey ends even after death? Do you like, are you like one of those people that go and think of reincarnation, or do you think your spirit goes somewhere else? Or
Yeah, I always remember the saying that energy is just constant. Energy cannot be, destroyed or be. We continue on. We are on a continuous journey. My beliefs, we do continue on even after death. As far as reincarnation, it depends, I think, what you want to do after this particular life. You may move on into another dimension that you find to be beautiful and you don't want to return, and you can stay there. And I also feel though that, hey, listen, maybe you're in that dimension for a certain amount of time, and then you say, listen, I would like to return and reincarnate, and you're able to do so. So our spiritual journey it's a constant. It's just never ending. We don't, we are energy, and that energy remains as a constant. We're in a very kind of odd place when we're in this life, because we are just in this human form, this, meat bag that we carry around with us. We, spiritually, we do what is the product of this dimension, and we become that dimension. So, yeah, we do make really big mistakes here. It's more of I guess this is kind of like the party boat of the, all the dimensions. We're here to kind of destroy ourselves always, and always overindulge. And there's a few of us that either we've done that and then we decided, hey, spiritually, we want to move away from that and start looking ahead. Or some people just decide to stay in one place. I don't think there is a right or a wrong. It's just the way we play out, our spirituality plays out. It's just like me. As I've gotten older, I just started to realize there's different journeys I want to take. There's different places I want to go. and I have to change the way I live in order to get there. So we
Mm.
need to
Yeah.
remain too in this present moment at all times. Because, like you said, you have to accept what is handed to you, even if you want something else and you try to manifest that. We still have to understand that we do have to take whatever is coming to us at the particular moment, because these are things we might have to get past to get to where we really want to be.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of like just on my personal stuff, like there is a lot of things I needed to forgive myself for doing. Um, like especially with reacting with like a in a fearful way. It really brought out the ugly in me. I um but yeah, like you like you said, you're not handed what you want, then yeah, you can manifest, but I think you have to work towards it as well. So like manifesting and working and planning. I agree with that, like, to get where you want to be. I mean, there's a ton of ebbs and flows, I think, with the spiritual journey, um and there's really no black or white, like it, like how we were discussing with other stuff. It's just gray, like you need to find peace within and be okay with certain situations, even if they suck, just find a way to work through that. So this might be a weird question. Where do you find the peace and replenishment when the world's going crazy? Because that kind of goes with the spiritual growth and your spiritual journey.
Yeah, we live in a world that is full of the yin, the yang, the positives, the negatives, the evils, the goods. Spiritually, what I found, and I've figured it out basically through meditation, the world will always have evils. There's just no going around that. And I think even in other dimensions, there's goods and there's evils as well. Spiritually, you have to look really at the world as a whole and understand everything is a lesson in this life, no matter what it is, whether it is good, whether it is bad. These are lessons that are teaching us. Those that come into our lives, the situations that come into our lives, be it good or bad, is part of the overall growth of all of us. I could sit here and say, yes, this person is bad. This person is good. But then you could take somebody else and they'll say, well, that person's actually good and this person's actually bad. It's all about perspectives.
Oh, yeah.
Don't understand everything, but we always try to figure it out based upon whatever our beliefs are, our personality is, what we've been taught, what we've learned over the years. So we'll always get different outcomes when we ask different people specific things. And yeah, the world it's a mess. You could look at it and say it's a real mess. But then, like me, just recently, when you get that touch of humanity where somebody goes out of their way to do something so profoundly good, it snaps you back into reality and says, wow, the world really is good. But do we look for it? Or are we only looking for the bad?
I feel like that's a double-sided coin. Like, I think it depends on how you wake up that day, and the first interaction you have. It doesn't even have to be with anybody. It could be with yourself. You could wake up groggy and just feeling like hell, and you're obviously going to be in a negative headspace because you're tired still. So you're going to confront everything in a way that you probably wouldn't if you would have had that extra hour of sleep or so. I think it's all about circumstances. And then you basically said that. Um, but you brought up something really interesting. So you said people. Um, so with spiritual journeys, there's always people that are coming in and out of your life. What do you feel about have you ever heard of like the red string theory or like the soulmate, like the soulmate?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know people say soulmates don't always stay in your life. They're kind of someone that teaches you a lesson, and you were talking about lessons. So that kind of got my brain going, and I'm like, you know, yes, there are people that do give you lessons in your spiritual journey, and then there's people that are soulmates, but what if it's the same? Like they are your soulmate, they gave you the lesson, but they don't stay with you. Like,
Mm.
What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, that hits me. I have a lot of relation to that because there are people that have come into my life that meant a lot, and then suddenly they're gone for whatever the reason may be. Um,
Mhm.
but the entire world is a lesson, and everybody that comes into your life is giving you a lesson. Some of these
Right.
people stay, and they're staying because the lesson's not over. Those that have left, they've taught you the lesson. You've either learned from it and moved on, so they feel they're no longer part of that anymore. Uh, but soulmates, yeah, we have so many, and it's not so much when you talk about falling in love with a soulmate. You can have soulmates outside of a personal relationship too, as well. People you connect with, people that you just feel you have to become friends with, or people you feel that you need to speak to. Because there's so many people that come in my life that they're just there because they're just actors in this whole play, but they don't mean anything. They're not there for any real lesson. They're just there because they're crossing the same street I'm crossing, or they're asking me for the time. It's very small, low level stuff. But those that I feel connected to, like after they speak, I need to continuously speak to them. These are your soulmates. These are the people that you want to seek because these are the people that are going to teach you lessons. The lessons may be good, the lessons may even be bad, but we all need to be taught in different ways. So I feel, I had you as a co-host because I felt you and I got some sort of soulmate connection. I personally feel that too. Um, I got a real soulful connection with my wife. I have a soul connection with a couple people. My circle's very small, and that is because spiritually I've shut out all of the negative and I'm only seeking those that I feel are going to uplift me positively.
Right. I like that you said that like your circle is small. Like I've been talking to a lot of just people that I've met at festivals, people that I've um run into it at events, and they always say the same thing, kind of like they keep their friend group small, but they know a lot of people, like they're acquaintances with them. And when they talk about those people, that they're, their clique, their little small group of people, you can see the twinkle in their face, and then they say all the other acquaintances, and it's just kind of like, eh, you know. And I feel that because like I have my small circle too, and you feel like you have really good connections with them, and I do believe that the whole thing with the lessons, they do give you lessons, but the ones that stay, I think they add more than the lesson. I think they add some type of support and comfort. And I know that that could be part of the lesson, but they could also just genuinely like be intertwined into your path, if that makes sense. And I don't mean like soulmate wise. I mean just, how do I say it? I don't even know how to say
The
it.
string theory that you mentioned, we're all connected. We're all intertwined in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I
That's
believe.
Yeah, so that's why, yeah, these are people, even if they're just lending comfort and all, that's part of that intertwined string theory. We're connected in some way. We feel certain sorts of comforts with certain people because of it.
Right. And it's good that you have that. I feel definitely with your journey of life, I mean, and spiritual like parts of life, like you got to have that comfort, you got to have that support. Um And sometimes it's the strangest thing, like people that you haven't talked to in a while will just show up into your life, or message, and you're just like really surprised because the conversation goes so well that it's a surprise. It's in a good way, not in a bad way. Well, maybe in a bad way, but it just is very surprising. Um how you didn't like you just you needed that conversation. I mean, it was always surprising to me that I needed some type of conversation that I didn't think I needed, but I got it. And it has got me thinking, like the universe doesn't always give you what you want, it gives you what you need.
Mm,
And that's
absolutely.
the thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You're fine. Because I was also saying, I wanted to say, if we look beyond the conversations, have you ever in life passed by somebody, made no kind of contact with them, but they stay in your mind for some reason.
Yeah, I've had those. I find them a little weird sometimes, but I feel like they were just needed there. Like their energy was good. I mean, it could have been bad, but usually the ones I remember, I had a really good feeling about them. Even if they just walked by, like I just felt something very personal and positive and just you could tell they were a very kind person. And they walked past you and you didn't want to be like, hi, my name's so and so, can I show you my rock collection or something? Can I show you some bones that I have? But they might look at you strange then, and then that would definitely be probably the end of that. But yeah, I've thought about people like that. I haven't in a while though.
Mhm.
So hopefully I have like another interaction like that, just walking somewhere and I see somebody, but I haven't had one in, I don't know, really long time.
Yeah, the
So
connections together, it goes beyond conversation. Sometimes it's just you feel connected to someone you've never even said hello to, but you can't stop thinking about them. Their face remains, their energy remains with you. So, yes, our spiritual journey is beyond just words because I, when we're in the other dimensions, I don't think we use words really to communicate. It's more telepathy, it's more energy. So, the spoken word, it's very powerful here in this 3D state because it's really all we have for communication. But yeah, in other dimensions, we don't need that. Our own energies spread out and other people can feel it more than they can hear it. And
I
sometimes
feel-
it intermingles down here on this level.
yeah, I really like that. I wish we could see people's energies. I wish we could feel them because I think people would be a lot nicer. I mean, honestly, I think people would be a lot more sympathetic and compassionate. You know, honestly though, I don't know if I'd want people sometimes when you're feeling just down and you have that pain, the sadness and the pain. I don't know if I'd ever really want anybody to feel that energy. So like
Yeah, I
it's
hear you
kinda
on
like I don't know if I'd want that, but it would be interesting. It would be
that.
really interesting to feel and to see that kind of energy. But also, I think you can. I think you can see people's auras. I think people just choose not to because they want to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm. Yeah, but we do feel energies. We do understand. Like when somebody's around you that you just don't have a good feeling about, that's energy.
Yeah, I do
We
get that.
pick up on all
Yeah.
this. Yeah, but that's how we are. Some people are just much more in tune to it than others are. But we do have that actual feeling for other people's energies. My wife feels other people's energies, just like you mentioned, people that are in a down spot. You don't want to force out on other people, but my wife just happens to pick up on it, and it's very difficult for her to shut it off because she doesn't understand it. So, yes, energies, we can feel them. We do know that they exist. It's just some people play on different types of energies because you got your energy vampires that want to suck you dry. You got
Ooh.
people that want to inflict pain on others, emotional pain on others, because that's part of them. This is all part of our spiritual journey. Those people sometimes they want to do it purposely, or sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. So that's where we got to concentrate on ourselves to build up our own spirituality to understand
Mm.
how we treat others.
I think I was more, when I was saying that, I think I was more like actually seeing it, like glowing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because
Oh yeah.
you're right. Like I pick up on, you know, some energies, tension, vampire, like the energy vampire thing. The person that's really comforting, that kind of energy. Yeah, I was more along the lines like if you could actually just see it, like Predator.
Right, yeah, there you go.
Like
Yeah,
just the
Predator's
glow.
a good one, but people can see auras. There are people that can see aura. I think we all can too if we practice it. Like I always say, I just think we've been deprogrammed over the years and we just lost these abilities. But I just really do feel that we can see these things if we concentrated, and some people can. But if we can't see the actual aura, sometimes we could just feel it.
Yeah. I mean, I've never actually seen someone's aura, maybe like once or twice if they have like really strong energy. And you're like, wow, that is such a bright, like you're a very bright person. You're like, you know, uh, how would I say it? Someone that's very charismatic. You definitely can feel that, see it, and just vibe with it. Yeah. Um, Energy vampires, though, I feel like they're really sly and shady type of people. Like, I think they know exactly that they're just draining the hell out of you. I mean, they just know. I don't, even if it's subconsciously, I feel like they just feel it. Um, but like other people, I feel like you do pick up the energy, but not the aura part
Hmm.
as much. And like you said, deprogramming, like, yeah, I could see that. I could definitely get behind something like that because, we're programmed to just be normal humdrum people that go throughout our day. You either like somebody or don't, and you go home, and that's the end of it. Um,
I seen
so
something that in relation to this, and it kind of opened me up to it because we're talking about the spiritual journey and what we see in this life and what we do about it. And I always questioned that deprogramming and why that is. I think we are born into this complete barrier, and then it's up to us as individuals to figure it out. And the forces that be, quote unquote, are hiding it from us. And I had seen this thing, or this quote, which I love looking at because a lot of them, I really can analyze them. They said, we are able to get more connection to ourselves. But the problem is we have bills, we have jobs, we have all of that was created so that we don't figure out who we are. And that is what I've really looked at. And I said, wow, that does make sense. So those forces that be that don't want us to be spiritually outgoing, we created all this mess. We created all this nonsense that keeps us stressed and anxiety. That prevents us because if we had none of that, and we were able to just sit with no worries and just concentrate on ourselves and our souls, we would be much better people.
yeah, limitless. Like that's exactly where my mind goes to when you're saying this, and I like that. Was it like a meme or like something that you read
It's on
somewhere?
my right. It was just quotes. Yeah, memes I try to stay away from, but I look at a lot of quotes. I go on like these Buddhist sites and all that and get all these
Oh,
quotes.
I do like that though, because if you really, yeah, like if you really think about it, like you're always stressed about having to make that next car payment or, what you're having for dinner or making sure your kids are, you know, be at the place they're supposed to be at, especially after school activities. Like you're always busy doing and doing that you're not able to sit and just in a way within prosper like out. So yeah, that makes like a lot of sense. And it kind of resonates with me. I mean, I really see that. And yeah, I think if we had more opportunity to focus on ourselves, would be much spiritually, better inclined within ourselves and able to connect more with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
And
could
I think if we were able to connect more with people, we would, be in a lot better place than we are now. I mean, so,
exactly.
eh,
So that's the lesson right there. Your spirituality is concentrated on yourself. Shut out all that noise, all that nonsense that they say we're supposed to do. Take moments for yourself. Take as much time as you need for yourself to focus on yourself, learn about yourself, and then and only then can we become better people. And with that, folks, I really have to say I appreciate everybody that tunes in and joins us with the Eye Opener Society. We are going to probably change things up a little bit because I know I've been hitting everybody with a lot of episodes all at once. And we also have Elaine's Arcane Oracle. We have Sunset Child's Out There podcast, and we have Anne Lund's Haunted and Waiting. So with all that stuff, and if they come out all at once, I think it kind of messes everybody up and you get tired of listening. So I think we're going to do a little bit less episodes. I might do a solo episode here and there, those little 5-minute quick ones just to fill in some space, but I'm going to try not to bombard everybody with too many episodes. And the only other reason I'm saying this is because Jennifer and I, before the show, we started to have a little conversation about doing something, and I'll release that once we make a decision on it. I think there's other paths that we can take that I think where we can really talk. So I want to say thank you, Jennifer, for being the creative host behind this episode. I think you did wonderful.
I hope it was worth people listening, and I hope that it wasn't draining on you. I mean, because I know sometimes when I talk to people, I have to wonder. I'm like, am I that energy vampire? Am I draining you? Am I taking your soul, kind of?
I don't feel that way at all. Like I say, we connect. We have deep conversations. We do, off the show as well. But that's why I have you here. Yeah, there will be people that don't connect with this, but that's the world of podcasting. You find what you connect with. So if this show connects with you, and if people connect with Jennifer, or if people connect with me, and people connect with Hannah, we could bring that to you. Then people are going to connect with Elaine, with Sunset Child, and Ann Lund. So yeah, that's why I try to bring as many people. That's why this is a society. It's different people. There's different topics, and we're here for you. And Jennifer Miller, you're doing fantastic. And I thank you again so very much for, helping host this episode of being creative control. And we'll be working on a lot more. So everybody, don't forget, tune into our shows. I try to release them every Monday. This episode is being released at the end of the month just because, again, Elaine gave us a bonus episode for the full Gemini moon. So I hope you had a chance to listen to that. It was really good recording. And also, don't forget to listen to Ann Lund's Haunted and Waiting, Sunset Child's Out There podcast. These are all great podcasters with their own different artistic approaches on everything. And I find them all amazing. So everybody, take care, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.